I've got annual demand of 6,000. Let's see. No, my annual demand is 6,250 units. I've got an order cost of $40, which means each time an order is placed, it's going to cost me $40. Holding costs are negligible, but they do earn 8% annual interest rate, meaning that there's a financial opportunity cost when they put cash into inventory. So we're using an EOQ formula that takes into account this interest rate. That's really what that means, right? It's saying the holding costs are minimal, so they're basically none. But instead of H on our EOQ formula, we're going to be use the I times the C. So this is the interest rate. We're going to use that 8% interest rate. The price is $40. So this is a little bit confusing. My data, I've got a regular price of $40. I also have an order cost of $40. So there's two different numbers there. Make sure mine doesn't confuse you, right? I've got $40. The distributor pays $40. The regular price is $40. So mine are the same. Does anybody have those different numbers? Or are they all the same for everybody? Different. Okay. Could be different. Make sure you're in the right place, right? The regular price here is referring to my B5 cell. And the distributor pays $40 is talking about the cost. See you, patience. Yeah, good question. So there's an annual interest rate on all cash balances. So this is basically like an opportunity cost of money. So we're going to use that in our EOQ formula coming up. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this discount threshold here. This says I've got a discount threshold of 0% discount for 1 through 400, $3.99. Starting at 400, I've got a 0.25% discount. And then starting at 1,100, I've got 1% discount. So I'm going to put that in my Excel sheet over here with just starting at 0, 400, 1,100. And the price here is going to be affected by that discount. Let's see, let me enable editing. Whoops, there we go. So I'm just taking what the price is, multiplying it by this discount here to change my price based on these quantities. So for 400 and above to 1,100, the price is $39.90 because of that discount. For the price for this last one, 1,100, is $39.60. And there's my equation, right? I'm just taking the price times 1 minus this discount. And that's going to be my price for this discount of 1,100 or more. Sound good, Doug? Okay, good. Nice. 7 times. Maybe 8. Okay, good luck. Okay, so now that we have our price and our discount information here, let's read what the question is. When there's no quantity discount, option plan A, the first row, what is the adjusted order quantity? Okay, so the adjusted quantity is about 3 steps away, okay, from where we are. So let's work through these steps. We're looking at a minimum quantity here. I have a minimum quantity column, and basically I'm just pulling from whatever this discount threshold is, okay? It's just pulling directly from, that's the minimum we have to order. In other words, I'm not going to be able to get this discount unless I order 400 or more. So that's my minimum quantity. Yeah, there's a couple. I just pulled that price and multiplied it by 1 minus whatever that discount is for that row. So price of $40 times 1 minus the discount rate. And then I've anchored that B5. Good question. Okay, so I've got my minimums. What's my calculated EOQ? Okay, so this is one of the first big steps, I would say. Not that we haven't taken any big steps yet. The big step here, this is traditional EOQ. Okay, this is straight from our formulas. What's EOQ? You got it. 2 times demand times the ordering cost divided by the holding cost. Or the interest rate times the cost. Remember how there's two? If I go back to these formulas real quick, there's two ways to do the EOQ. This says the problem said the holding cost is negligible. There's none holding cost, but there is an interest rate. So we're going to be using this formula for our EOQ. That's our calculated EOQ. What does that look like in the spreadsheet? It looks like this long formula. Square root of 2 times the demand. Annual demand is B2. Let's see, I should use my mouse. Here's my annual demand B2 times B3 is the order cost. That's the 2 DS of the formula, divided by the interest rate, B4 is my interest rate, times B11, which is my price or my cost, right? All I'm doing here is I'm just plugging these numbers into this equation right here. EOQ is equal to 2 times, is the square root of 2 times D times S divided by I times C. Right? Conceptually, what is EOQ? EOQ is the number of items that we want to order. Simply the economic order quantity that minimizes our total cost, right? If we go back to previous day, we were minimizing our holding cost and our ordering cost. So this equation helps us identify what that minimized cost is to order. That's the number we need to order. What is that number? $3.95 is what I get. $3.95. Now this one's $3.96 and $3.97. Let's look at that. So $3.96, why is it different? Because the price is different, right? So for option B, if we order more than 400, we have this 0.25% discount. That 0.25% discount is factored in at this price for the calculated EOQ. And the same thing for this last one. We're using the square root of 2 times the demand. Demand is B2 times B3, which is our order cost, divided by the interest rate, 8%, times this cost of $39.60. That's the calculated price from the discount. Does that make sense? Good. Okay, great. Okay, so that's the calculated EOQ. One more step here. One more step. This step is we have to take the maximum of the EOQ, or let me see if I can zoom out just a little bit so we can see it. The adjusted EOQ is saying in order for us to actually get this price, we have to order a minimum of 400 for this discount. Does that make sense? Because this EOQ is at 396, we would not get the discount. We have to order the minimum here. That's our adjusted. That's why we're saying it's adjusted, so that we can gain that discount, so we can earn that discount. Does that make sense? So we've calculated the actual EOQ. And in this column, we're adjusting the EOQ simply based on this minimum quantity. Does that make sense? We have to order up to this minimum quantity in order to get that discount. Hey, no worries. No worries. So for this 400, the reason why this is 400 is because we're calculating a max. So I'm just using the maximum formula equals the max of these two numbers. Which one's highest? We can't order 396 if we want this 0.25 discount here. So I'm saying if we ordered this 400, we can get a 0.25% discount. The next row here is 1100 because in order to qualify for that discount, we have to order 1100. The EOQ is 397. That's the calculated EOQ. But if we really want to get that discount, we've got to order 1100. So that's all the adjusted EOQ is. It's saying, let's take our EOQ and compare that with the minimum quantity for this particular discount. Okay, so now we've got our adjusted EOQ. If I go back to the question is, what is the adjusted order quantity for option A? So that's this 395 right here. Why is it 395? It's because we don't have a minimum quantity, right? The minimum quantity is 0. We have no discount here. The number that I'm going to put right here is $3.95 for me. And I'm going to click, how did I do? And it's going to say, I got it right. So we're good. More or less, more or less. So the big question there was going from our EOQ to the adjusted EOQ. I feel like that was the kind of the new thing. If you haven't, we've seen EOQ before, but adjusting it based on this price discount was the big change here. And that's not even what they asked us. So they're just asking us in this question, option A. Question, Josh?
I'm still missing the EOQ itself.
Oh, you're not quite sure. You're not getting the right.
I feel like I'm seeing what you've got up there.
Right.
My number is like 34. It's very small compared to like what you would need to buy in order to discount. So I don't know if
I hear you. Are you using the interest rate and the cost, right? Megan, do you want to help them out back there? I'd have to look at it to better answer your question. Do you want to check after class and I can dig in? We can dig in and knock that out. Or ask Megan, either or. She might do it faster than me. Question. Yeah, you bet. So this discount is 0 because there's no, this price comes directly from this price, the same because there's no discount, right? But that's the formula. So I'm just taking that price times 1 minus the discount rate and then anchor that. Okay. Okay, how much time we got? Oh, we still got 6 minutes left. This is great. Can we finish it? Okay, here we go. Next question. Based on the annual demand, what is the annual ordering costs? Okay, so if you can imagine yourself thinking about your boss is asking you, okay, based on these discounts, what is it going to cost us this whole year to make all these orders? That's really what we're asking. What is going to be the annual ordering cost for these parts? So if we go back to Excel, what we're going to do is we're going to figure out what the average inventory is. Is that what we're going to do? Actually, yeah, we can do that. And this is basically different scenarios, right? So if we've done the adjusted EOQ, let's look at our average inventory. So how do we calculate our average inventory? We take the adjusted EOQ divided by 2. This one is conceptually very interesting, mathematically very simple. It's not necessarily intuitive, but if you think about it for a minute, it makes sense, right? The EOQ is the order quantity that we're going to buy. So if you remember in the textbook, it had this diagram of every time you order, your quantity goes back up, right? So your inventory is going down, going down, going down, going down, and then you order, and then it goes down, 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 and you order again, down, 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 down. Your average inventory is your EOQ, whatever that is, divided by half, right? That's on average how much inventory you have over the entire year, assuming that your EOQ is the same the whole year, right? So if you're ordering the same amount all year long, boom, 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 then you're just going up and down on this average. You take your EOQ, divide it in half, and that's what your average inventory is. Question?
I have a random question.
Sure.
So if you set up the assessments, why do the company need a person actually working for them the whole year? As long as you
Right.
set this up, like he's out of job.
Yeah, that's so true. I would say in the past 10, 15 years, you know, you have 80% of the industries where customer demand is stable, right? This assumes that demand is going to be flat, right? That you're not going to have huge sways in demand. So where you have industries and products and commodities where the demand is level, then all of these are done by machine. I mean, you're talking 90% of the ordering is just like I said before, the computer will print out or prepare a purchase order, and the buyer just has to click and say purchase, boom, 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 boom. And in some cases, they don't even, it's all like pre-authorized even. So the real challenge is when the demand changes. When demand fluctuates, then you have to be a little bit, you can't quite set this up once and be good, right? You have to be a little bit careful about that. Yeah, that's a great question. Okay, so we have our average inventory. How do we calculate our annual ordering costs? Okay, we're going to do this with our annual demand. We're going to divide by the EOQ. Why are we doing that? We have our annual demand of 6,250 divided by the EOQ, which is the adjusted here, which is 395. Okay, let's think about that. If I'm going to order 6,250 all year long, that's my total demand. And if I divide that into EOQ buckets, that tells me how many orders I'm going to make this whole year. Does that make sense? So I'm taking the 6,250 divided by 395 is how many orders I'm going to make every year. How many orders is that?
Oh, what's that?
15, 16, 14, 15.8. So that's what that first part of the calculation is. The B2 is the annual demand divided by my adjusted EOQ, which is my order number, how many I'm going to order. That tells me I'm going to make 15.8 orders this year. I'm going to multiply that by the order cost. Every time I make an order, it's going to cost me 40 bucks. So if I know how many orders I'm going to make that year, multiply that by $40, that's going to give me $632. That's my total ordering cost, right? This isn't the value. This is not the 632 is not the value of what I'm ordering, right? It's just the cost that that takes me to make those orders. The cost of 15.8 orders per year. Does that make sense? Okay, here we go. Oh, I got 1 minute left, man. Average number of units. Here's my annual holding costs. I take my average inventory, multiply it by the interest rate times the cost that we have down here. That gives me my holding cost. The holding cost is also part of this interest rate times cost, right? So again, I'm taking my average inventory times the interest rate times that cost. That's my annual holding cost, which is down here for this question. Average number of units, that's the average inventory. So this is 198. Annual ordering cost is 632. Annual holding costs is this number, which is also 632. Total annual inventory costs. This gets to be pretty fun. This is a big one here. We're including our ordering costs, our holding costs, and our annual C. Annual C is total annual demand times our cost. So that's our actual value of the value of the merchandise that we're actually ordering. Does that make sense? That costs us 200. That's $250,000. This is the ordering cost. This is the holding cost. This then is the total inventory cost. We're just summing those three up. Okay. We're taking our ordering cost, adding our holding costs, which is really, in this case, it's an opportunity cost of money. And we're also adding the actual dollar value of these units, which is that 250,000. That total inventory cost is 251,265. And that's going to be this very last one, 251,265. Let's see. Did I get it all right? I missed some of these. These other questions, what's the adjusted order quantity for Plan B? That's back over here. What is the annual ordering cost for B? We've covered all these calculations. This is just asking on Plan B, right? This is also Plan B, and this is Plan B. Does that make sense? So, and then this is all Plan C. So basically what I've done is, I'm sorry to keep you over. We've done all the calculations for A, and it basically asks you the same questions for A, B, and C. Does that make sense? Last question, what's the most preferred? What's the least preferred? what you do is you look at the total inventory cost. Which one's most preferred? YC? Because it's the cheapest. That's right. And B and then A. All right, I'm going to stop the video and say thank you very much. You guys are great. Good luck.